Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. You're watching In Deep on the Delta, and today I'm going to do a bait review, and I'm actually going to review two baits. One of them is a bait by the Geecrack Company, and that is the Bellows Gill. Some of you may have seen this already. It's pretty new. It's from Japan, but I'm going to give you my 2 cents on this guy. And the other bait is called the Dancing Bonedoctor. You probably haven't seen this one. This was made by, I'll try to pronounce it correctly, Kasumi Bait Company. Now both of these are come over from Japan, and I want to talk a little bit about why I have been doing some of these bait reviews, and most of them have come over from over the ocean from Japan. And this is the deal: bass fishing over in Japan is very popular. They're fishing heavily pressured water, and the bait companies from Japan really kind of focus in on that, and that's why having some of these things may be the difference between, you know, catching fish and not catching fish, because number one, you're not going to see a lot of these. Everyone's not throwing them. I think you're going to be really interested in fishing these baits, especially if you are a non-boater fishing, you know, out of the back of the boat in a tournament, or you're fishing pro-ams and you're behind somebody all the time. These are baits that may make the day for you, because that guy in the front of the boat is going to be throwing all the standard stuff that everybody knows, and the colors and the baits that are known to that particular body of water. When you come in behind that guy, you're either expecting that you're going to be better than that guy, or maybe you've got a little secret weapon like one of these things. And I'll also say that out of all the baits that I'm checking, I might go through 6, 7, 8 baits. I am only showing you guys the baits that I think are going to be really good baits. Now, the scary thing about these baits is they're pretty darn expensive, and we're going to go over that right now. But just keep in mind, I'm going to say this once and once only. You're going to pay maybe $3, $4 for these baits. I am not going to suggest that these are going to be everyday baits. My suggestion here on the Delta is you're going to use these baits in specific situations, and primarily during the spawn, when you see fish on or near beds that you can't catch on other baits. I think these things are going to catch them. So with that in mind, I'll start off with the Dancing Bonedoctor. Kasumi baits, they're $12.99 a pack, and they come in 2 sizes, 8 colors. They have some good colors too. They have a really good green pumpkin, and this is some kind of crayfish laminate. But a couple of my favorite colors from the Bonedoctor. They come in a 2.5 inch and a 3.2 inch, and this is actually about a 4-inch bait when you add the appendages on it. Now you get 7 baits on the 2.5, you only get 4 on the 3.2. So if you're getting 7 baits for $12.99, that's, you know, a little over, what is it? You know, it's about what a Cinco costs, maybe a little more. When you're only getting 4, you're going to be paying what is that? $3 a bait, if my calculation's right. So they are expensive, and you'll also notice that these are very they're very both of these very technical, the way that they've got these gills and all the little appendages on them, and they're made out of very soft plastic. That's why they have such unbelievable motion. That's probably why they catch some fish. You're going to probably get 1 or 2 fish off of this bait here. You may get 2 or 3 off of this bait, but they're not going to be long-lasting baits. That's why I'm not suggesting that you go out and buy a ton of them. Okay, so for the Bellows Gill, the Geecrack Bellows Gill, $9.49 for a pack of them. And they have both of these at Tackle Warehouse, by the way. They have 16 colors in the Bellows Gill. Now they have a 2-point and a 2.8 inch or 2.8 inch bait. That's the small Bellows Gill. And you get 7 of them in a pack. So for $9.49, not too bad. But when you get to the 3.8 inch, it's you only get 5, and if you go to the bigger one, which is a 5 inch, you only get 3. So that's when these things get a little, you know, a little more dicey price-wise. And you know you're going to pay something when you get one of these baits. This is what the package looks like. And you pull the baits out, and each little bait comes in its own little container. That'll scare most people off right there. So, like I said, these may not be for everyone. But let's start off with the Dancing Bonedoctor. And one other thing that I'll mention before I start the underwater footage here. This guy here is probably the closest thing it's going to look like is a crayfish. The closest thing that this is going to imitate is a gill, so Bellows Gill. So you have crayfish, sunfish. What do we have out on the Delta? Every day of the year, crayfish and sunfish. Okay, so let's start off by talking about the Dancing Bonedoctor. And you can fish both of these in several ways. You can just plain and simply put them as a jig trailer on a living rubber jig. You can put them on a swing head jig. You can fish them just with a ball head jig. You can fish them drop shotting. You can fish them Carolina style. I think they're going to be really good fishing Carolina style, or you can fish them T-rig. So you'll have to experiment. You can watch what these things are doing, how this thing bounces up and down, how all the little appendages just move around, how they float with the head, how this Bonedoctor floats with the head down. It's got a really great jigging motion, along with very animated with the jigging motion. But if you want to slow it down and just move it very softly across the bottom, you can see that all of these little appendages just are incredible. They almost breathe like a real living creature down there. I would suggest also that because these are such intricate baits, that when you butter them up with your favorite scent, that they're going to hold a lot of scent on them. And again, we're throwing these things to fish, hopefully, that we are going to see. So when if you butter it up and you throw that thing in the right area, when that fish comes over and takes a look at it, it's going to have fresh scent on it. That is the Dancing Bonedoctor. Let's move right into the new Bellows Gill, or the gill that we're going to talk about. And I'll add one thing. If you are going to be fishing clearwater lakes and you want to drop shot this little 2-inch Bellows Gill, I think is where you want to go. You want to leave the Dancing Bonedoctor alone when it comes to maybe doing some drop shotting. But if you're drop shotting, and I'm mentioning this because some of the information that I've been getting on some of the prototypes, these little gills like this, the 2-inch, are doing really well on drop shot. And I noticed they have a electric blue color in the Bellows Gill. And for the guys that fish clearwater lakes that plant kokanee, I really love to have something with a little blue on it. This little 2-inch, I definitely get a pack of those and give that a try. But we're going to talk about the Bellows Gill now. And although doesn't have, there's a lot of moving parts here. I think this is a little tougher bait than the Dancing Bonedoctor, but I'm sure that they're going to bite these tails off, and it's going to be, a 2, 3, maybe 4 fish bait. But this guy here, the Bellows Gill, has a very subtle action compared to the Dancing Bonedoctor, and you can see this tail. Just you can hop it with a jig. You can run it across the bottom very slowly, and you see it just has less animation and less motion to it. But still, when you look at the tail of this thing, it's just kind of beaten down there. Almost like a heartbeat. And when you get that thing on the bed of a big bass, and you're just able to twitch it as they're looking at that thing, a lot of times all it's just a very slight movement that bass picks up on and decides to inhale it. I like the size of both of these baits because they're big enough for the biggest of bass to come up and want a mouthful. But I really think in the Delta come springtime, these are going to be 2 baits that you're going to want. And man, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these things, I'm going to probably put them in a nice little package, something like I got here, and I'm going to probably put these away and I won't see them for a while. But when I get out here in, let's say, April, May, and I'm working one of these fish that may be a double-digit fish, and that thing just won't hit anything, I'm going to remember this little box of my Bellows Gill and the Dancing Bonedoctor. I'm going to pull it out and put it in front of that fish, and I'm going to have a renewed confidence that because these fish just don't see them and it's something new and so interesting, that I'm going to catch that fish. And like I said before, for $4. I don't care if it was $10 a bait. If I can catch a double-digit fish, I'll go 2 days without a Starbucks coffee, and I'll just continue buying them. So for now, buy yourself a pack of each, give them a try, let me know how you like them. If you like these bait reviews, make sure you hit the like button and just send me a little something. Say, Steve, I like watching these oddball baits. And before I leave you and before I sign off, I want to tell you one thing. I'm going to do at least one more bait report, and I have one bait that's coming in. It hasn't reached my house yet, but when it comes in, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to give it a try. And like I said, I've been looking at a lot of baits, and I don't tell you about all of them. But this next bait, I'm not even going to tell you what it is. I want it to be a surprise. Be looking for it in the next month or so coming out of a bait review. But I really, really, really believe that this bait has the potential out here on the Delta to do the same thing that a hollow body frog does. But it's a bigger bait, and it's a bait that doesn't mimic a frog, it mimics a bait fish. And I am so excited about this bait. I can't wait. I've been checking my doorstep about 3 times a day to see if, when it comes. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Hit the like button. If you're out here on the water, I don't care if it's January, February, March, April, or if it's in the middle of summer, you're going to find me out here, and I'm going to be trying stuff out here. And I'm not catching many fish, but we're trying things, and I want you guys to know about these lures, because if you like them, if they look like you might be able to use these with confidence and put them in your box, you want to get them now. You don't want to wait for midsummer when everybody, somebody comes out with a video, and then everybody buys them up, and you won't be able to get them for a couple of months. So with that, see you guys on the water. Thanks for watching, and have a great new year.